We'll now hear from School Prefect Emma Dreyfuss.
Writing a graduation speech about your own graduation comes with the assumption that you have reached some sort of emotional closure about leaving high school, which is something I can't say I've experienced. I've been refusing to accept my graduation since last year's ceremony. As I watched Madison Mayhew stand up to receive the first diploma of the class of 2014, I felt a desperate urge to stop time. I didn't want Madison to ever hold the diploma in her hand because I felt that the second the handover was completed, I would actually have to be a senior, and then I'd actually have to leave. The penultimate term at Midland provided a time of mourning for me. A perpetual cloud of nostalgia covered my head as I thought, this is the last blank that I'll ever blank, and I can't believe we're actually leaving. For this term, I've been too possessed by the typical pre-summer, oh God, get me out of here sentiment to process my immediate departure from the place that I've called my home for the last 4 years. Luckily for me, inspiration for this speech came in the form of the 1970s mega reunion. Midland was flooded with alumna, all reconnecting with old friends and seeing the place that had been their home for 4 years. Because of the sudden influx of old friends, my father, who graduated in class of 1981, decided to invite his old classmate Tom to have dinner with us. I sat across the table from this stranger. A few seats separated us, creating the perfect spying distance, so I could observe my father and his friend relive their high school glory days without them noticing me. My father and Tom chatted about Midland and what they had been up to recently, and while they did, I was struck with the oddest sensation. This would be me in 40 years, I realized. Who would be my Tom? Was he very close to my father, or would my children likely not know who my best friends in high school were either? After dinner, I tried to pacify my nerves by grilling my father about his ex-classmates. Were you guys very close at Midland, or was he, just one of those guys you knew? Oh, yeah, he was one of my main gang of friends. The knot in my stomach tightened. So my friends would likely be the unknown dinner guest as well. I tried again to force my dad to provide me solace. Maybe my kids wouldn't know my friends, but at least I would. So how often do you guys talk? Do you guys ever call or email or stuff? Oh, I hear from about every 10 years or so. 10 years? I'm at an age where I can hardly fathom 10 years. 10 years ago, I was 7. 10 years ago, I still wanted to be a professional cat breeder. 10 years ago, I wore gaucho pants and a sweatshirt exclusively. It seems impossible to know someone if you only speak to them once every decade. Needless to say, this dinner did not quell my frenzied emotions about graduating. Suddenly, I was certain that in 40 years, I would have a mega reunion of my own and return to a Midland that I no longer knew and speak to people I was no longer friends with. For the next 24 hours, I dreaded graduation and the bridges it would surely burn. The following night, however, one of the 1970s reunioners made an announcement at assembly. He moved to the center of the circle we had formed near the barbecue pit on the field and said something like this: Midland is a wonderful place, and in 40 years you will come back and be so grateful for the time you had here and be so grateful for all of the people you'll reconnect with. The 1970s Midlanders have been planning this event for months on Facebook, and we'd like to thank you all for hosting us. This alum provided me with an answer to my long perplexing question without even knowing it. First off, he mentioned Facebook. With our Facebook feeds constantly displaying every major event and every minor event of all of our friends' lives, we couldn't lose touch with each other even if we tried. Secondly, he helped me realize that the thing that would keep me close to the life I've known at Midland would be Midland itself. No matter what happens to us, Midland will always be here. This year, we will leave. In 4 years, all of the students we know will leave, and I predict that in 10 years, all of the faculty members we know will leave as well. But Midland will be here. In 10 years, we'll come back as 28-year-olds. We'll have graduated college, where we'll have made a whole new set of friends. We'll be preoccupied with our jobs and our significant others and the satisfaction of being young, but not too young. In 20 years, we'll come back married. Some of us will have kids to watch, and we'll need to make sure they don't find the axes. In 30 years, we'll be almost 50, and we can all complain about paying for our children's college educations, which will just keep getting more and more expensive. And then, at our own 40-year mega reunion, we can talk about our tenure and what exciting things our children are doing with their lives now. 40 years will have passed, and our lives will have evolved and changed, but Midland will be here. Now, I'm not suggesting that the school won't change. I've seen the campus plan. I know that the Midland I come back to won't be the Midland that I leave. I know that I'll step into the hay barn and realize I'm stepping into a theater. I know that I'll look up on Varsity Hill between Glass House and Playhouse and no longer see Phil's rickety, inhospitable abode. The school will look different when I come back, but Midland will be the same. There will still be head prefects standing on Stillman Porch to ring the ding-a-ling. There will still be teachers sitting along students at dinner. There will still be students chatting and singing while showering alongside each other. Midland will stay the same because the people will stay the same. Midland is a special place, and everyone who goes here knows it. The people who are drawn to the school are the people who respect individuality and hard work. They connect with the Midland philosophy, and it is their commitment to Midland as it is that will keep its core essence intact for the rest of its existence. Midland will remain, and it will be the constant that we all return to. No matter how much we all change, we will all have Midland to bring us back together. When my dad saw Tom after 10 years, they didn't greet each other as strangers. I couldn't understand how they were still friends, but they were. Now I realize that returning to this place serves as a form of time travel. When people come back, they return to the place as they knew it, and because Midland graduates are connected to the place in a way that no other high school students are, they can find in Midland a version of their past selves. So when we leave Midland, we will always be able to find ourselves here again. We don't need to worry about leaving. We don't need to worry about drifting farther and farther away until we eventually become estranged. We don't need to worry about seeing each other in 10 years and having no idea who we are. We have something that no other 2015 graduates have. We have Midland.